Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Ninja Selling Podcast. This is the week of Thanksgiving in the United States, and I am thankful to be here with my good friend, Eric Thompson.
Hello, Rob. Well, I'm thankful to be here with you. I'm thankful to be here with the entire Ninja Nation. I'm looking forward to this podcast.
So amongst thankful things, let's talk about the thanks that we gave for our coaching clients earlier this week. Tell us a little bit about what we did and some of the ideas that came from it, and then let's deep dive a few of these.
Yeah. So the theme for this podcast is going to be holiday-related flow ideas and really leveraging this time of year to be in flow. And what inspired this podcast for Rob and I is the fact that we just this week hosted a happy hour, a virtual happy hour for all of our coaching clients. And we did something kind of fun for them where we gave them a choice of a gift that they could get from us that we shipped to them in advance of the happy hour so that we could all toast together virtually on our Zoom screens all together. So, and Rob, this was your idea. You get all the credit. Our clients had the choice between a half bottle of wine, a pre-made old-fashioned, or some hot chocolate. So we had kind of an even distribution among those three. I thought that was kind of fun and interesting. We shipped them off. So we're all together on the screen and people were toasting one of those three things. We gave them, for instance, not just the half bottle of wine, but also a fun wine glass, Ninja branded, a fun cocktail glass if they chose the old-fashioned, or a fun coffee mug. And so a couple of things came out of that. One was we asked people to share flow ideas, which we're going to share today. But the other thing that came up for you and I, Rob, is that anyone in the Ninja Nation could do something similar with their clients, not necessarily having a virtual happy hour. I suppose that they could do that. That would be fun. But what would happen if you in the Ninja Nation picked your top 20 or 25 or even 50 of your raving fan clients, those people who have sent you referrals over the last year, and you said to them, hey, I just want to say thank you to you. I really value you. I value our relationship. I'm grateful. And I want to give you the chance to pick among one of these three gifts. And I'm happy to deliver that to you. Go ahead and pick that out. And Rob, I think one thing that was fun, and I'll ask you to talk about this a little bit, you picked locally sourced products. Like each of those three things kind of had a fun story behind them, which made it more meaningful.
Sure.
So share about that.
Well, sure. So we'll start with hot chocolate. There's a spice shop in Old Town Fort Collins, and many of you have probably been there. It's a picturesque place, and it's this spice shop that makes their own homemade version of hot chocolate, and it is a wonderful hot chocolate. So we offered that as an option. Now, Fort Collins, Colorado is not known for the caliber of wine, but Napa Valley is. So there's no story to the wine because I appreciate our clients so much that I would never give them wine made in Fort Collins, Colorado. But there is actually a winery that I've heard is pretty good. But we sent them a half bottle of wine, but a wine that we love and one that's perfect for this season. And the old fashioned it was made with a distillery here. And there's a great story behind Old Elk Distillery, which is in Fort Collins. And they make a pre-made cocktail, and we gave them a couple versions of that. So they were things that not only came from Fort Collins, but things that we know and like.
Yeah. And they all had a great story behind them. And we made it really easy for the client. And this is a takeaway for everyone listening. You could do the same thing. We just made a simple Google form that we sent people to where they RSVP'd for the happy hour, but then they also chose their gift. So you could do the same thing, create an easy Google form for them to fill out. You could do it as a postcard with a QR code that sends them to the Google form. But again, think of your very best clients and what are some special ways that you could say thank you to them. And people love to have options. They love a choice. They thought it was fun that they could choose among those three things. So that, I think, is our first holiday flow idea.
Yeah. And Eric, before we have the yeah buts tell us that, yeah, but it's so late in the year, I don't know if I could get this done this year. One of the other things happening right now is business planning. And think about building in your holiday client appreciation into next year's business plan. It's not too late to pull it off this year. This is actually an idea that I had only a week and a half or something before, but I had to enroll some help. We had Eric's daughters here packing up the things, and we had a lot of help from FedEx getting them there on time. But there's absolutely no reason that just if we can't pull it off this year, that you can't schedule it for next year. So I think that's worth talking about as we come, with some of these ideas.
That's a really good take, Robin. So what someone could do is put a note in their calendar right now for, let's say, October 15th, 2025, start to plan the holiday giveaway and put these specific ideas in there. So get ready for next year, if nothing else.
All right, Eric. So tell me about bourbon pecan pie.
Bourbon pecan pie might be my new favorite flavor of pecan pie, even though I have not tried this yet, but I've heard about it. It sounds wonderful. So during this happy hour that we had with all of our coaching clients, it was a wonderful time. We had people share some of their favorite flow ideas for the holidays. So one of our coaching clients, her name is Robin, she every year bakes 40 bourbon pecan pies. And her clients, no surprise, love it. So she gets the help of her kids. Speaking of having kids help out, she gets the help of her kids, both in the baking of the pies and also the delivery. She makes it this great, wonderful tradition that she makes all the pies at home and then delivers them out to her clients with a really nice note that's attached, thanking them for being one of her favorite clients and sending her referrals, et cetera. But it sure sounded good when she was describing this.
I think the interesting thing about this story is she shared her flow idea was she was vulnerable and shared that last year she had a family tragedy and she didn't do it last year. And her clients really missed out on this. And I think in a way, she kind of missed out on it as well. It's become a part of her holiday tradition. And hearing her say that she was getting text messages a few weeks ago, people saying, so am I on the list? My family's bugging me about the bourbon pecan pie. I love that. And I think that this is amazing that it has become not just a tradition in her business and with her clients, but for her family as well. And what an amazing way to blend those together.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a touching story that she told about how she had to take a year off of doing this. And it just seemed like to me when she was telling the story that this is allowing her to kind of get her life back on track and helping her process through that tragedy, the fact that she's back to doing pies.
Yes.
Super fun idea.
The next idea that I had today, Eric, is that we've had many people in our Ninja Installation Graduates Facebook page and in the Ninja Podcast Facebook page ask the question, is it creepy for me to use public record information to mail somebody a handwritten note if they never gave me their address? And I want you to kind of talk about that a little bit because I think the ninjas at large agree it's not creepy. If the note is sincere and you have reason to be reaching out to them that is in the spirit of gratitude or thanking them or giving them some accolades, then nothing about that is creepy. However, we all kind of get that question, right? Like, should I be doing this? Why don't you share some ideas that people might have around how they could use other means of communication to solicit an address? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I would say definitely not creepy. I would be in the not creepy camp on that because it's value add. It's fun. People will enjoy opening it. I think that's always the test. And so get your own mindset that way, that it's value add. It's fun. It's a gift and not creepy. And that will help it to come across as not creepy. But I think a fun idea, kind of innovative, would be you could pop them a Facebook message or a text, take a picture of what you'd like to send them. So it's a holiday card, it's a New Year's card, and you just say, hey, I have this for you. I'd like the chance to mail it to you. Where should I send it? Turns out I don't have your address. Can't believe it, but it turns out I don't have your address. Seems like I don't have your address. What's your address? Whatever version of that it would be, I think for the most part, people would be more than happy to share their address.
And real quickly, you're going to figure out if you're creepy or not, because if they don't respond, they don't want your mail. But I think most people, I mean, I can imagine this scenario unfolding, and I'd be a little curious, what's in the envelope that they just snapped me a picture of? And we know it's probably a holiday card or something, but we want to get that, right? Those are fun. And we stick them up on the fridge and look at how everybody's family's growing, and, we kind of chuckle about that. So
yeah, absolutely. By the way, that's a really good strategy we're finding with real estate reviews is to take a picture of it ahead of time and say to the client, hey, be on the lookout for if you're someone that's going to be mailing out a real estate review. So I think about that, how effective it is with the real estate review. So just use the same approach with this.
And I think the key here is send them the picture of the envelope with their name already written on it, right? To where, hey, I'm sending this to you. I've already addressed your name on this. It has a totally different tone than sending them a text that says, what's your address? I'm sending you something.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So we thought that was a really great solution. And I think everybody here is in the camp of if you use public records to find somebody and you're doing it with the best of intentions, not creepy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What other ideas came up, Eric?
Well, one that you and I have been talking about is hosting a photo shoot for clients. And so many things I like about this. One is it is something that is on the mind of many, many families is having an updated family photo. I'm thinking about, Rob, this comes up in my house. It was coming up in my house over the last few weeks, where the last round of photos that we had taken of me and my family were taken like 5 or 6 years ago when I had a lot more hair. I had different style glasses and they look way out of date. And Julie was reminding me that they're out of date. We hired a photographer. We had photos taken. It was very time consuming. We spent money. We're not happy with the result. And so you can host something for your clients that's easy, it's fun, it's complimentary. What would happen if you hosted the chance for your clients to come with their family? You have a photographer, you have a nice setting, you have a nice backdrop. They pop in for just a short period of time, get the picture taken, off they go, and they get a free family photo.
Yeah.
You can make it easy.
And the thing about this is family photos are a touchy subject for us. I usually get a lot of criticism because we spent hours and hundreds or thousands of dollars on a photo shoot and I look like an idiot in every picture. And so this one's really low stakes, right? If you do like, hey, we've got 15-minute mini sessions with this local photographer, find somebody who's either already in your sphere or trying to build their business. They'll get what this is about and work with them to have a really cool setup. And I think done correctly, you're going to actually take something off of many of your clients' to-do lists at the holidays of like, how are we going to get some sort of holiday card photo put together? And this one may be, in all reality, it may be too late to put together this year. It may not be. You may have a photographer in your family. But this definitely could be one that you build into your business plan of like, let's find the person, let's find the place, let's let our people know. And maybe you do it for a couple of days and you get 20 families in a day. Think about the density of quality flow that you're fitting in there.
Yes. And people, if you use that 15-minute time slot idea that Rob just gave you, people really like that. They know there's a start, they know there's an end, they know that they won't be caught there for a long time. You like that too. You can have a quick but effective and meaningful forward conversation with them while they're there. And if you're thinking, well, it's too late to pull off for this year for the holidays, do it in the summer, do it in the fall. I know other ninjas that some are coming to mind that they do every year, a fall photo shoot, same kind of thing. But again, as we said, this is a pain point for so many families that you can solve. You make it easy, make it fun, make it low stakes.
All right, next rapid fire flow idea. I'm going to shout out to my friend Todd Fields and his wife Adrian Charlie, both at the group. Todd's now in management of the group, and Adrian's now retired. But for many, many years, they have hosted a wreath-making party. And this is how it goes. They use the basement classroom of one of our real estate offices, and they bring in a truckload of foliage. I mean, I don't know where they get it. If someone really needs to know, I'll connect you to Todd Fields, but there's probably somebody that can help you get this. And imagine a scenario where families come in and they're handed a wire hoop and they sit and go through a tutorial on how to wire the foliage into a wreath. And first of all, it's amazing how good people are at these crafty things. It's also amazing how bad people are at these crafty things. So for the people who are really into it and having a wonderful time, they've got all the things. They've got the bells and the ribbons and all of that sort of stuff. And for people like me, they have some wine in the corner and probably a cheese board and a couple bottles of Perrier or something. But it is such a fun thing that they get hundreds of people that come in for this. And I think they've even had to extend it to like 2 different periods. But it's an amazing opportunity. You meet tons of new people. And again, talk about leverage around flow at the holiday season. It's so much because they're sitting there for probably 30 to 45 minutes to make a wreath. It gives you the opportunity to really connect with everybody that's there. It's different than hosting a holiday party where you're kind of scurrying around to catch up with everybody. What comes up for you with this one, Eric?
Well, so many brilliant pieces of this. One thing that comes up for me is it's a very non-threatening environment for the people to show up to, because the focus is on making the wreath. And so they know that they don't have to be there to make small talk with people. They just have to show up to make a wreath, and everyone's going through this shared experience. So, if nothing else, you can talk about making the wreath and, and how it's going or how it's not going. And you can have some laughs about that. It's relevant and it's valuable because they end up with a wreath that they can go home with. This is interesting, Rob, that you're bringing this up, and you don't know this, but last night, my wife, Julie, went to a wreath-making party with her friends. It's a tradition that they do every year. About 20 of them get together, and she absolutely loves it for all the reasons that you just said. So what a fun thing for someone who's really crafty or not, because you're making it easy and simple for them. You're even going to have some fun with the people that maybe aren't the best at it, but you'll help them out. So really good idea, really simple, and especially good for the more crafty of our ninjas.
Yeah. The last one I have for today it's actually last week's ninja action tip. And I was thinking about the nature of a holiday party and the unique opportunities that we all have to potentially see somebody that we know and maybe somebody that we like, but somebody that we maybe haven't seen in a while. And sometimes having not seen somebody can make forward conversations risky. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, You've all been there, right?
Yeah, where you unintentionally put your foot in your mouth.
Yeah.
We were talking about the example before we recorded. Maybe you haven't seen someone in a while, and they're not with their spouse, but you try to ask a family related question, right? And the F of the forward, you say, yeah. So how's your wife? And what would happen if maybe unfortunately they had a divorce 2 years ago, and boy, then all at once your foot is in your mouth and it's awkward. So the forward in the package solves that, because it's like just pick from the above.
Yes,
is what the listener would say.
And one of the keys, I think, to that, because as people were analyzing Peter Parneg's action tip in our Facebook communities, the thing came up of like, I really don't like the rapid fire question, but for me, I believe it gives the person receiving the questions a little bit of grace. It gives them the opportunity to respond to whichever of those is either relevant in their world or positive in their world, right? It gives them the opportunity to control what's coming back, but it really does keep things compartmentalized to forward.
Yes, absolutely. And what I would say to those people is, do your version of it. Peter is an amazing person, has an amazing personality. You heard his version of that. And so do your version. And again, the forward in a package, just as a reminder, it's where you give all 4 questions. You offer all 4 questions all at the same time. So Robin, if I hadn't seen you in a while, like, oh my gosh, Rob, catch me up. How you doing? Like, how's the family? How's everything's going at work? What are you doing for fun? So that's the idea. And so again, pick your version, which might be in that order. And so right there, I did the F, the O, the R. It might be only 2 of the 4, So I might say, Rob, oh my gosh, it's been a while. What have you been doing for fun? And what's going on at work?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you could stay away from the F part of it. Pick the order, pick the ones you want to do. But we were kind of laughing earlier. It's almost like a choose your own adventure for the person answering, where they're going to pick the easiest one, or I don't know, the most fun one to answer. Maybe they did do something really fun recently, and so they're thinking, all right, I'm gonna choose that one,
right,
of the options.
Right. I think the other thing that happens is getting the forward conversation started allows you to then find your next question in their answer, right? So if it's like, hey, my wife and I just got back from, then that's probably fair game. As long as they didn't break up between the time they got back from and today, you are in good position to say, how's she doing? What's new in her world?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most amazing things about Ford. However, if you do put your foot in your mouth the first time around, it can make the rest of the conversation awkward, if not impossible.
Yes. Then the other person is just looking for ways to get out of the conversation. But with the Ford in the package, you make it really, really easy on them. And that's why it's just so brilliant. And again, perfect for those holiday parties. You haven't seen the person in a while. Or maybe it's your neighborhood party and you only see that person just once a year at that party. So you use that idea that Peter gave us.
Amazing. This is a little bit short and sweet today, but I think it should be short and sweet because who do you know that has excess time in the week of Thanksgiving?
Right? People have a lot going on right now. They might be traveling or getting ready to travel, spending time with friends and family. It's also our chance, Rob, to say thank you. This is a week of giving thanks. We like to give thanks every day, but
Absolutely.
We'd like to say thank you to all of you in the Ninja Nation for all that you do and how engaged you are. We are so grateful for all of you.
And thank you to everybody who engages with us, regardless of where you are. And a special thanks. We've received a lot of interesting feedback about the podcast, right? This was, as I think about things to be grateful for, the fact that we are here and still doing this is a big one for me. And many of you have reached out and said, hey, we like what's going on. Some of you reached out and said, Rob, you suck. And some of you have even been amazing and pulled me aside at an event or something and said, here's an idea. We want all of those ideas. We want to make content that's relevant to you and your business. So please engage with us. Like we mentioned, a lot of what's inspired here happens inside of the Ninja Selling Podcast Facebook group and inside the official Ninja Installation Graduates Facebook group. So join whichever one or both if they're relevant to you.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Thanks again for listening. We appreciate it.
Have a great Thanksgiving week.